Hello guys, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I am going to help you build a winning deck strategy so you can have a deck that not only functions but has a game plan and a way you want to achieve victory. That is the biggest problem many players that are new to the game can struggle with, especially if they have a limited card pool. But if you choose one of these strategies in today's video, you'll have a much better functioning deck. Of course, there's an asterisk there, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The easiest way to build any deck, the biggest strategy, the most common strategy, is to build it around a specific card. For example, End's Zoroark is a card that requires other End's Pokemon in the deck to function and has a really good built-in ability that acts as consistency. This is a very decent card and you can build a solid strategy about it. And there's plenty of trainer, item, and stadium support to get the strategy off the ground. And in a vacuum, this is a well-functioning deck with a winning strategy. Of course, whenever you have a deck like this and you put it in a meta, other decks might have more powerful strategies that get off the ground faster or do more damage, and that's why they are better decks. Other examples of strategies you might find in the wild include the box strategy, and Miraidon EX is a perfect example of this. Its ability itself lends it to being paired very well with many other lightning types. Of course, it was paired originally with a Dynamotor Flaffy, allowing it to be attacking itself, and with Iron Hands EX, which can take extra prizes. And currently it's paired with Joltik, which floods energy onto the board, and once the new black and white set comes out, there'll be a return of Dynamotor and a Zekrom EX as well, which does more damage depending on how many prize cards your opponent is taking, making it a very diverse and flexible deck. Now, secretly, box decks are all built around one Pokemon as well, but this is a support Pokemon. Usually Miraidon is the main support, but it's also typically paired with another support Pokemon. So, for example, when it was Miraidon EX at first, it was more of a Flaffy Dynamotor box. Currently, it's a Joltik Lightning box, and in the future, it will probably be an Electric Lightning box. If you find any good support Pokemon you want to build a backbone around that support a specific type or way to get energy onto the board, that's usually the best way for that to happen. Another strategy that you don't see as often, and sometimes goes by two names, is a spread deck. Spread decks are all about putting damage all around your opponent's board, setting up for taking multiple KOs and winning the game from behind. While a sniping strategy are all about setting up math on the bench to try to take multiple prizes and KOs towards the end game, letting you quickly jump ahead to victory. The most common example of this is Dragapult EX in Standard. And if we jump over to GLC, we'll find an excellent example of spread. Another strategy that tends to be more advanced is a stall or lock strategy. These strategies are all about stopping your opponent from progressing and winning the game, whether it's through ability lock, getting your opponent stuck in the active, or preventing your opponent from being able to play certain cards from their hand. Stall and lock strategies is all about controlling your opponent, and tend to take a lot of practice and know-how in order to make that strategy successful, and it's not about taking prizes. There's also further alternative strategies that might come up in the Pokemon TCG, but these are usually all centered around a specific gimmick, but those decks can vary in success rate and probably isn't the best thing to center a good strategy around. In my opinion, the best strategies for beginners are supporting one card or using a box strategy with a very good support Pokemon to get energy or resources onto your board very easily. Now, of course, there are many different examples of supporting one Pokemon as your win con. In GLC, there was Snorlax and Colorless before the new Hop Snorlax. Turbolax is all about recycling and using your Snorlax as much as possible to put on a lot of pressure onto your opponent's board. Charizard EX in Standard is the same thing. Your whole goal is to get Charizard EX, and the Pokemon in there is all about helping set up your board and making sure you have the specific cards you need for victory. Golden Go EX is also supporting one Pokemon with the strategy of getting as many energy into your hand as possible, requiring the deck to play cards like Superior Energy Retrieval, Lavincia, etc, etc. But all those cards and decisions of what cards you put in your deck should all be geared to making sure that strategy can go off without a hitch. Now the specific numbers for those cards, I have a video about the balancing within your deck, so be sure to watch that video if you want more about that. The other strategy I think is very good for beginners are box strategies, where you have a specific supporter Pokemon can easily support a large variety of attackers in your deck, and gives you a clear focus on what you need to set up first in order to get your strategy off. But in general, the best strategy is to choose one specific Pokemon from your collection that you typically have multiple copies of and has a decent enough attack that you can build a strategy around. And the one Pokemon you choose will determine just how good your deck is. If it doesn't do enough damage or is awkward to put into play, the strategy is less likely to be a success. But if you can frequently get it into play, get the energy onto your board, and get a powerful setup with that Pokemon, your deck will have a pretty good winning strategy. But in theory, you can build a strategy around one specific Pokemon and have it work perfectly well. And if you do that, you'll have very good success. Anyways, that was it for this video about how to build a winning deck strategy. Of course, there's a lot of different things you can talk about when building a deck, and be sure to check out the other videos I have listed down below that I made about building decks. And I'll see you guys all in next week's video. Bye!